You have to be very careful with these kids. Whatever you teach them can mamash save their eternity. It could save their eternity or ruining it. Who's telling us this? Elisha ben Avuya. He's the prime example. He says, I learned Torah my whole life. I learned more Torah than all of you combined. All of you combined, your entire lives, you can learn Torah. It's still not going to be like Elisha ben Avuya. Myself included, times 10. All of us can learn Torah. We start here, we don't leave. We start learning Torah, learn the rest of our life. 1,000 years, still not going to be like Elisha ben Avuya. 1,000 years, we're not going to learn what he knew. He says, I knew Torah, the sword, I knew all Torah. I went to Shamayim. Do you even know how to spell Shamayim? He went to Shamayim. He started seeing stuff, seeing angels. We think of angels as a cartoon or something. He saw angels. He's telling you, what ruined me? What Abba taught me when I was a little kid. He taught me that materialism is important. He told me to be a soccer player is important. He told me that to play video games is important. He told me that to win in the karate match is important. To watch wrestling matches is important. Money is important. He taught me money is important. You know how many parents tell their kids money is important? They make their little kids businessmen already at 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. The kid drops this. I see this all the time. I see this all the time, unfortunately. Kid drops a Sidur or a Sefer Torah in a Beit Knesset. No one says anything. Kid drops a Sidur or Sefer Torah on the floor. You know, accident. Falls on the floor. No one says anything. Everyone's very lethargic. Wait for him to pick it up. Sometimes he doesn't pick it up. Sometimes he picks it up and he just puts it back on the table, even though it broke it or whatever. But Chas v'Shalom, he dropped Abba's phone on the floor. Hey, what are you doing? You have to be careful. It's Abba's phone. It's $800. Sefer Torah was dropped on the floor. You didn't say a word. Sidur says Shem Hashem in it. Shem Hashem is in it. You didn't say a word. Nothing you didn't say. The phone, the iPhone fell on the floor. You wanted to take the kid's head off. Are we Greek or are we Greek? And you expect your kid to be what? Gdol Ador or what? Gdol Ador what? Video games or iPhones? What's he going to be? You're ruining him. Why are you making him think that the iPhone is more important than Sefer Torah? When you teach a kid Torah, it's like engraving something into his neshama. When you teach it to an adult, it's like writing. Engraving becomes part of whatever you wrote it on. Writing is always something you can ruin, and eventually it wears off. And that's the other thing that Elisha ben Avuya says. He says, you know who the child is. You know who the child's parents are by how he speaks in the market. Gemara Masechet Sukkah, page 56. Says we know who the parents are, what kind of parents they are, not who they are by name or by face, but we know what kind of parents a person has just by seeing their kids talking in the market. Why in the market? Because that's when people talk like freely. So when parents are actually educating their kid, the number one most important thing that they realize is I want to make sure that kid never has to do tshuva. He lives a life of tshuva. He never has to do tshuva. Every day he does tshuva, because tshuva is part of Judaism. It's one of the mitzvot of the Torah. You want to be a righteous Jew, you want Hashem to save you, you want all the blessings, you have to do tshuva every day, because there's no such thing as a Jew who doesn't sin, or a person who doesn't sin in general. Even if they're Gdol, it doesn't make a difference. Everyone sins to some extent, you have to do tshuva every day. But to do tshuva versus live tshuva is two different things. Do tshuva is like one day you woke up and you realized you were wrong. Living a life of tshuva is different. That means you have Hashem in your mind at all times. So Elisha ben Avuya says, to live a life of tshuva, you have to make sure that you make the Torah part of you. Now the problem is that sometimes you don't wake up until you're late, like us. You're 30 years old, you're 20 years old, you're 50 years old, you're 60 years old, like Israel or Jerry on Sunday, 65 years old, Baruch Hashem, you're starting to do tshuva, 65. It's never too late. But it's a different Torah. Same Torah, but it's different Torah. Why? Because now it's a little more difficult. Now Elisha ben Avuya says, what's the Torah of studying of an old man? It's like ink being written on smudged paper. Meaning, the first and foremost, in order for you to accept the Torah, you have to smudge, you have to erase what's already on it. All the garbage you've been taught for 20, 30, 40, 50, 65 years, you have to erase it first. You can't put the purity of Torah on top of your garbage and expect it to stay. What is it like? If, let's say, for example, you want to put on a top of a kitchen, a new top. I think I tell you, listen, remove the old top, clean the surface, and put the new top with it. It's granite or formica, whatever it is. Clean the surface, put the new top, finished. Now if you do it without cleaning, you just remove it and you put the new top on. Short period later, what's going to happen? It's going to fall and break. But you say, why? I put it on top. I did half the job. What's the big deal? It won't stick. It won't stick unless you clean the surface first. The Torah won't stick unless you clean all the garbage first. Unless you remove all the kfirah, all the heresy out of your mind. You can't continue learning from the New Testament and go through conversion. You can't continue to learn about stuff that goes against Hashem and say, I'm doing tshuva. You can't watch sports every night and say, no, I want to go to Shiur Torah on Tuesday. It's not going to help you. Why? Because that one day, that one shiur, it's going to give you fire for another day, for another 2 days, for another week even. But as soon as you turn on stuff that's against Hashem on TV, it ruined everything. 5 minutes later, 5 minutes after shiur, you went to Shiur Torah 3 hours. You come home, you turn on the TV, you put on sports, you put on some disgusting movie that has nudity in it and all types of stuff. 5 minutes, you came back from Shiur Torah, Kodesh Kodashim, you had Hashem Yitbarach attend the Shiur Torah. You went home, you put on some type of movie. You ruined the entire Shiur Torah. Everything's gone. Everything's in the garbage. It was better off you didn't come to the Shiur Torah. Better off you didn't come. Why? Because maybe you would have been sleeping by then. And you wouldn't have watched that disgusting movie. So a person needs to understand that when they're older, it's much more difficult to learn Torah. You already have a lot of garbage to deal with.